I would like to shout out Caressing Me Night for sending me this story. Now, we all know who this is. This is Mayor Pete Buttercup, or Butt Plugs, as you know I call him. Those are the two names that I have given him, and for obvious reasons. But this story was sent to me, and this is pretty much going to confirm why. Well, when he came out when he said what he said about not needing black people's votes, now we pretty much now know why he said that. So this article I'm going to read from is coming from the Daily Beast, where it basically got exposed that Pete Buttercup, or Butt Plugs, has awarded no major contracts to black-owned firms for 3 consecutive years. So we're talking about dating back to 2017. That whatever black-owned firms that were around Pete Buttercup never gave any major contracts to any major black-owned firm. This backs up his statement saying he doesn't need black people's votes. Now, let me remind you also that Pete Butt Plugs is also a member of the Alphabet Academy. Now, just because he's a part of that academy does not absolve him of racism. Because many of them who are palm-colored in that academy are racist. But many of them like to hide their racism behind the fact that they are a part of the academy. As if, see, here's the thing. If they feel that they can't be quote-unquote oppressed and be racist, so what they'll do is they'll be racist on the low, but put their sexuality to the forefront to hide their racism. That's what he's doing right here. But we all knew what he was on when he made that statement way a few months ago and said that he doesn't need black people's votes, but was still for some reason in black people's faces. But I'm glad people started to figure him out. But let me go ahead and read this article. Of the many pledges that Pete Buttercup has made in his as yet unfruitful quest to earn the support of black voters, is guaranteed that a quarter of every federal contracting dollar will be awarded to minority and women-owned businesses is one of his most ambitious. Look at how they keep using that word minority and throwing black in the mix. Look at what it would be like if we were co-vesting in promising businesses led by black entrepreneurs, startups, and other kinds of businesses that have the best track record of creating the kind of employment that can help lift people up economically. Butt Plug told BET in September. But an analysis of such spending during Buttercup's tenure as mayor for South Bend, Indiana, shows that the presidential hopeful fell dramatically short of that goal. According to a 2019 study analyzing the city's contract data conducted by Collette Holt and Associates, a national law and consulting firm specializing in disparity studies, the city of South Bend did not award a major contract to a black-owned business for 3 years straight. The study found that from 2015 through 2017, the city of South Bend distributed $83,675,547 in contract dollars, roughly 12% of the city's contracts, to businesses owned by racial and gender minorities, and none to a black-owned business, despite the study finding that there were more than 200 qualifying minority-owned firms in the market at the time. Minority-owned and women-owned businesses make up 15% of the market in the city, which means that while South Bend was close to achieving proportional awards for some categories, black-owned businesses continue to lag. While the city is more than 25% black by population, eligible black-owned contractors make up a mere 3.25%. More than 88% of the contracts between 2015 and 2017 went to businesses not owned by women or racial minorities. At the same time, Butt Plugs administrations awarded numerous lucrative contracts to past campaign donors and to corporations whose lobbyists and executives had given to Buttercup's mayoral election efforts. They just told on themselves right there who they gave the money to. So basically, because the black-owned businesses apparently did not give any money or give enough money to his campaigns to become mayor, that's why they shut them out to get these major contracts for their firms. That's why I say when it comes to politics, or I say politics, money always has a huge role to play in it. One minority business owner told the study authors that South Bend employees are trained to believe that black folks, poor people, or minorities can't deliver, and that she keeps her status as the owner of a minority-owned business under wraps because the stigma has kept her from winning contracts. I really felt like the city of South Bend didn't want me to have the job. It wasn't because I wasn't the best at what I do, because I am. It was just because they would say, well, you don't need that much money, like you're just a little black girl. You won't need that much money, she told the other study authors. Our problem is that people are trained to believe that black folks, poor people, or minorities can't deliver. There's a whole lot of black people in here that want to do something, and somebody needs to see that. And see, that's always been a stigma that's been going around that says that black people are lazy and shiftless and everything like that. But when you have these politicians like Mayor Pete butt plugs, then you and they have control of these contracts and the resources that are being distributed, and they don't get that distribution, then that's how you end up in these situations, and that puts out a stigma and a stereotype about a certain group of people. Look at how these schools look in certain areas. That's why they say that they don't want to go to school. They don't want to learn nothing. How would you know? They don't put money in there. As a matter of fact, there is a particular ward in DC, Ward 8, and that is the ward, well, whatever's left of it that hasn't been gentrified, that was considered to be the urban ward or the hood ward that had mostly black people in it. I remember a couple years ago, there was a write-up in a newspaper where they were doing distribution to the city, for DC, and only wards 1 through 7 got the money in the funding. Ward 8 was completely shut out. Now that they're going through now that they're going through gentrification, I'm feeling that whenever this distribution thing happens more frequently, Ward 8 will most likely now be included in it. They tell on themselves every time. There are black-owned construction companies. Another black business owner said that the difficulty in obtaining South Bend city contracts had even led to some minority-owned businesses to go under. There are black-owned construction companies, but one reason a lot of them that I talked to went out of business is because they can't get the contracts with the city. So they can't get any big contracts. Then they have to try and build their business with only small ones, and it's hard to maintain a cash flow with the other issues that you deal with. The analysis, titled The South Bend Disparity Study and produced Buttercup's behest, measured contracts and subcontracts worth $50,000 and up for a 72.38% disparity ratio for contract utilization of minority-owned business enterprises in the city. That ratio measures the participation of a group in contracting opportunities by dividing that group's utilization by the availability of that group to participate in the contracting process. A disparity ratio of less than 100 indicates that a given group is utilized less than would be expected based on availability. A ratio of less than 80% has been presented by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission as indicating a prima facie case of discrimination. Buttercup track record on rewarding city contracts to minority and women-owned businesses has been reported before. In November 2019, shortly after his proposal mandating that the city award 15% of its contract to minority and women-owned businesses was passed with the South Bend City Council, The Intercept reported that butt plugs had only awarded 3% of city contracts to black-owned businesses as mayor, citing annual audits conducted by the city. But the outside analysis by Collette Holt and Associates, revealing the eye-popping 3-year stretch with 0 contract awards to black-owned businesses, has not been reported, and comes at a moment when even Buttercup, most diehard fans, are growing increasingly anxious that his statistically insignificant support among black registered voters represents an insurmountable obstacle to his electability. It is a concern. It is a concern about the South. Can he win in the South? Can he win the black vote? June Schindler, a potential supporter, told the Daily Beast at a Buttercup town hall in Ottawa on Tuesday. It's a concern. Butt Plugs campaign pointed to the small number of eligible black-owned firms in the region as a partial explanation for why South Bend lags so far behind the former Mayor Douglas's plan. In an interview with Charlamagne the God last week, Buttercup explained that the disparity study was a painful but crucial step to understand how the city would address the problem in the future. We found out that we are below where we ought to be, he said, of the city's contract with black-owned firms. That wasn't a surprise, but now I had the legal power to do something about it. While Buttercup has touted the creation of a training program aimed at helping minority-owned and women-owned businesses apply for city contracts, the city was so slow to improve the city's designated official in charge of ensuring minority and women-owned businesses that were being included in the selection process. And I'm going to go ahead and pretty much stop it right there, because right now you pretty much get the gist of what's happening. But this is the same guy, like I said, that he did not need the black vote. We heard him a few months ago. He basically told on himself. So this doesn't surprise me that this is coming out about him now. But you know what? He has, in my opinion, no chance of winning. I'm just waiting for the day to come, when he says that I'm dropping out of the race. Because they're not going to, first off, they're not going to allow him to win. I'm going to just be completely honest. And I think we all know why. But he's another one of those liberals who, those palm-colored liberals, that is what you call a covert racist. He'd smile in your face, and the minute you turn around, he stab you right in your back. But I never trusted him from the get-go anyway. I don't trust any of them, to be quite honest. But I'm glad a lot of stuff is just being slowly let out of the bag and being exposed as time goes on. And hopefully many of those who are still on that Democratic plantation will figure it out soon as well. Because November is approaching. We are now in February. We only got a few months left. And we're going to see what's going to happen. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, to follow me on Twitter. Have your notifications turned on. And I will talk to you in the next one.